Hi, welcome to Beauty with Beth, where I share all things beauty to assist you in finding and enhancing your true beauty that shines. Today, we're going to talk about seasonal skincare. Well, this is April 13th when I'm recording this, and spring has sprung. It is where I live in central Illinois. The trees are budding, they're green. There are a few, those early flowers that are up. I've seen people out in their gardens getting everything ready. Even a few early things have been planted. I've seen the farmers in the field getting the fields ready. It's just spring, right? It's a wonderful time of renewal and a time for new life and a time for fresh and new things, right? And sometimes that includes our skincare. Sometimes we need to enhance our skincare routine. We need to change our skincare routine. We need to spring clean our skincare routine sometimes when the seasons change, because typically when the seasons change, weather changes. And so depending on where you live, it could be more humid, it could be warmer, so you could be a little bit more oily, it could be less humid, it could be more dry. I mean, everybody's a little bit different in where you live, but generally with the change in seasons, weather changes, and that really affects our skin in a lot of ways. And so it might be time for you to take a look at your skincare and your routine and see, are there some things that maybe I need to switch up for this season of spring? And then you can do the same thing in the fall and the winter, really for all of the seasons. So I'm going to talk to you first about generalities. So first of all, generally as we move from winter to spring to summer, lighter skincare products are better for more people. I was going to say are the norm for more people, but I would say lighter skincare products are better for the majority of people. Generally, spring moving into summer is warmer, more humid, more outside activities, and so generally we don't need as much hydration as we do during the fall moving into winter. And so that's kind of the general, think lighter skincare. Now, if your skin doesn't really change, if the weather doesn't affect it very much, you might not need to change your skincare when the seasons change, and that is totally okay. But it's a good time to evaluate, because you might have one or two things that you might want to switch up. You don't have to change your whole skincare routine at all. Maybe just a few items in your skincare routine will help to keep your skin at its optimum condition. So this is generally what I share with my clients when it's the seasons and we're looking at their skincare and, okay, what do we need? The first thing that I generally talk about is moisturizer. That's, to me, the easiest thing to switch up, to switch out, to help your skincare routine be more effective. And so perhaps if you are using, for instance, like our Time-Wise Repair Day Cream SPF 30, maybe you might want to switch to, for instance, our Time-Wise Antioxidant Moisturizer. This is a lighter weight moisturizer. It is not as emollient as this moisturizer. So this might be better. Now, I personally don't switch up my skincare. I use this moisturizer all year round. But I have customers that go back and forth. This is generally a more emollient cleanser, or more emollient, moisturizer. And sometimes in the spring to summer, they switch to a lighter one, like the antioxidant moisturizer. So that's one thing that you can do. I generally think the moisturizer is a good first place to start. And then you might want to evaluate your extra hydration products. Maybe in the winter, you use some extra hydration products. For instance, you might use either like an oil-free hydrating gel or intense moisturizing cream as some extra hydration during the winter. Well, maybe you don't need extra hydration at all, or instead of an intense moisturizing cream, maybe you need an oil-free hydrating gel as a little bit of extra moisture during the spring and summer months. So that's another thing that you can do if you're using extra products for moisture, for hydration during the winter. Maybe as you move into spring and then to summer, you don't really need those extra hydration products. So that's something else that you can evaluate. And then go to evaluating your supplements, your other skincare products, generally facial masks. So perhaps if you have a charcoal mask and you move spring to summer and it's a little bit warmer, maybe your skin's a little bit more oily or just not dry, then maybe it's a charcoal mask and maybe you use it more often. You want to use facial masks every other day. You don't want to use any facial mask back to back 2 days in a row. That's generally too much for your skin. But you could use this every other day. When I was a little bit younger and had more oily skin, I used this every other day all the time. And it didn't affect my skin at all. It was great. And so, especially in the summer, I would use this every other day because that extra oil, I just needed to keep that out of my pores. So maybe you use more often the charcoal mask. Maybe if you have been using like the hydrating cream mask for extra hydration during the winter months, maybe you use it a little less often. Instead of 2 or 3 times a week, maybe you use it once a week, something like that. It's also good to always keep your exfoliation products, like this is our microdermabrasion or our exfoliating scrub. It's always good to keep those once or twice a week. That is great for all year round because in the winter, it keeps the dead skin off of there so your hydration products can really penetrate. And then in the warmer weather, it keeps, that dead skin off of there so pores don't get clogged and helps to keep that any excess oil off of there. So generally, exfoliating products you want to use about the same. You can use them, again, a little more frequently if you feel like it. So again, not more than every other day. You don't want to use it 2 days in a row, but maybe every other day. So that is something that you might want to do more of in the spring and summer months. You might also want to try retinol if you haven't done that. That is a great product that will help your skin's natural process of rejuvenation of your skin cells and that sloughing off and exfoliating of those dead skin cells. And so that's going to help your skin any time of the year. And so if that's not something that you've tried, maybe you want to add that to your routine for the spring and summer months. And then I always think the last thing to change up is your cleanser. So for instance, if you're using like our Time-Wise Repair foaming cleanser, you might want to go to the Time-Wise 4-in-1 cleanser. This is a much more emollient cleanser than this one, so you might switch it up. And our Miracle Set Time-Wise 4-in-1 cleanser has both a combination to oily formula. You might switch to that, or you might even just switch to the normal to dry formula, and it will be not as emollient as this one. And so that's generally the last one though that I use, or that I recommend switching. The hydration first and your supplements, and then this is generally the last one that I switch up is your cleanser. So those are some things that you can do during the seasons to switch up your skincare if needed, to evaluate your skincare products, your skincare routine, to make sure that through the seasons, as the seasons change from winter to spring, now it is, or that applies spring, summer, fall, winter, to make sure that the products that you're using are great for your skin and your skincare routine is doing the best that it can for your skin. I would love to know in the comments, share with me if you learned something new about switching up your skincare during the seasonal changes. And if you thought, that's something that I want to like evaluate my moisturizer or maybe my skin supplements, I would love to know that. So make sure and comment. And then of course, go ahead and subscribe to this channel where you can find more of these types of videos. Thanks and have a great night.